Welcome to TMZ Live. I'm Harvey Levin.
Charles here.
Okay, strap yourself in because we're about to tell you something that's pretty shocking. So you know the story about Shannon Sharpe being sued by a woman, it looks like a former girlfriend, who says that he sexually assaulted her. He came back saying,
denying it altogether,
not true.
saying this is a shakedown. She's just trying to get money out of me, and he puts a lot of blame on her attorney, Tony Busby, as well.
This is the Tony Busby, as in the Diddy lawsuits.
Correct. Tony Busby is representing the Jane Doe. She's filed as Jane Doe. But this morning, Tony Busby dropped an audio recording that he says his client made. It was a phone conversation between herself and Shannon, and they get into an argument, and you will hear what Shannon said to her, and then we'll get into Shannon's response to this.
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
What does that even mean?
Nothing, Gabby. You want to be a to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
Wow.
Yeah. So the part obviously bleeped out, just to be clear. I'm going to bleeping choke the out of you the next time I see you. Now, what's interesting is the end of that conversation where he says, you don't have a choice in the matter. One of the things that Shannon said in response to this when the lawsuit was filed is that they had a relationship where there was a lot of role playing. So this was a consensual relationship for over several months where they did role playing, there was rough sex, and he admitted to this, and his lawyer released what he says are text messages from this woman sent to Shannon, where she said things like...
But we should say, this is going to be really graphic, folks.
Yes. I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're flanking me.
By the way, and I should say that the choking aligns with what he says was going on, which is what you just described.
Right. I know you missed this big, juicy... Oh, you're not going to read some of these?
Nope, you're the reader.
I know you missed this big, juicy blank, $25K for each cheek. You better crave it because you're going to be stuck with it for life after you put a big black baby.
So what they're saying with these texts is that it aligns with the nature of the relationship, which they're talking about.
So Shannon this morning, after Tony Busby released that audio recording, Shannon decided he wanted to respond. Now, he actually recorded a video. He's not responding to the audio recording itself. He's responding to the overall lawsuit and says there are actually more recordings that he expects to come out.
This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about.
So to kind of translate this, I think what he's saying is Tony Busby contacted Shannon Sharpe or his rep and said, give us $50 million or we're going to release, and whatever it was that included a 30-second video, because he seemed to know, about the 30 seconds.
Right.
And saying that if you look at it in the full context of the 10 minutes.
It is interesting that he knows the length, the full length is 10 minutes. So that makes you feel like he knows exactly what this video is.
Charles, he may have a copy of the full video.
Well, he said I don't.
He says
I'd
he
release it if I had
doesn't.
it.
He actually said, Harvey, if he had it, he would release it himself. I don't know what Shannon believes that the sex tape would show, but he certainly seems to believe that it would actually vindicate him.
He seems to have very clear knowledge of when he said when it happened, described where it happened,
what he's saying,
and the exact length.
But I think what he's saying is that if you look at that 30 seconds out of context, it's going to look way different than if you look at the full 10 minutes.
I will say if Shannon, and look, these are two allegations. You have heard her side and Shannon's side. If he is correct, he's trying to, and maybe he will, checkmate Tony Buzbee into releasing the full thing. And if it is 10 minutes, then that makes the public believe Shannon's side of this more than the accuser's side. Well, and I think that's what Shannon's trying to do here.
I disagree a little bit because I don't think the 30 seconds, unless Tony Buzbee is representing that's all there is, that doesn't mean that he's released.
Your point is, if there's something bad in that 30 seconds, it's still bad.
Right.
You see it.
But if you see the full thing, it's not. It's going to look more like role playing than real.
That's what Shannon.
That's what Shannon's saying. If choking is part of the role playing,
you could see him saying, "Look, yes, I said that to her, but that was a thing that we did, and I meant like."
Can you go back?
When you come home, we're going to have rough sex.
Can you just show? Yeah. Can you just show the chyron of that phone call again? That's the part. I don't want to be choked is a weird response. Yeah, it's tepid.
It sounds. Listen. And Shannon hasn't said this, but based on the fact that his lawyer put out these text messages and said this is the kind of relationship they had, I could see Shannon saying that was our role play, and that's why she said very meekly, I don't want to be choked.
And that's why the 10-minute tape may show kind of the full context of it. By the way, he can't sue for defamation because when what they write in the lawsuit is protected. You can't sue for what's in the actual lawsuit. He could sue for malicious prosecution, the way Jay-Z did, if this thing gets dismissed with prejudice.
Right.
Or if he wins. But you can't sue for defamation for what's in a lawsuit.
Right.
Just FYI.
My name is Torshia from South Florida. And look, anytime I see Tony Buzbee's name now, I just pause for a second just to consider validity. But this is a very unique case from his last debacle because these two very clearly know each other, Shannon Sharpe and Jane Doe, and they have very clearly spent time together. So based on the messages, et cetera, it's not beyond the stretch of anybody's imagination to kind of see things from Shannon Sharpe's side. But you could also kind of see things from Jane Doe's side. And we all know the burden of proof is going to be lower because this is on the civil side. So I don't think this is going to be a clear, cut and dry, closed case in Shannon's favor. And we still need to see how the people that he works with are going to react.
Yeah, we haven't heard that. You're right. We have not heard that yet.
ESPN has not said anything.
Okay, we are going to move on.
Yes, to Sydney Sweeney.
Okay, this is a twist.
And her ex-fiance, Jonathan Davino, hanging out together at her place down in Florida. And he's smiling. Now, look, he could also be smiling. She also got, you may have seen this on her social media, she got a new puppy that she's been...
Charles, why is Jonathan Davino
posting
there?
Lots of photos with the puppy.
Why is Jonathan Davino? Why did he
I will
fly
say this. When I saw her social media yesterday and the new puppy, I thought...
You thought, okay, it's over.
Yeah, she's moving on. She's got the new puppy to keep her warm at night instead of Jonathan.
Oh, God.
But then Jonathan shows up at her place.
But not just shows up at her place. Because remember, we got the pictures of them at a deli in L.A. a week or so ago. Right. And everybody was saying...
that was a much...
Yeah, well, they may just be working out things because they're breaking up. Mm-hmm. So that made sense. He flew to her place in Florida, in the Keys.
I will just say this. Remember, they had a dog together when they were together.
Forget the dog.
And he kept that dog.
Forget the dog.
So now she gets a new dog. That makes it look like they're going their separate ways.
No, forget the dog. He flew to Florida.
Never
they're
forget
together.
the dog.
No, I'm not saying
the dog is always critical.
The dog is important, but they're together.
What's also interesting here is the house in the Florida Keys, because we broke this story when she bought it. She bought this house. Her name is on the deed. Jonathan's isn't. So like for a long time, I really thought this was over. Now I'm starting to wonder. So she clearly said, okay, you're fine. You can come to the Florida Keys, assuming that he's staying at this massive home. It's a huge home that he's staying at the house with her. It's just interesting that she would say, you can come stay at this house with me if they are still broken up and they aren't working through things now.
Brendan, thank you so much. It's 2 against 1.
Hold on, no, that's not what
2 against 1.
He said that there's a chance that they're going to work
2
things
against
out.
1.
No, you're saying they're together.
Brendan, are they together?
She's not even letting him hold the puppy. She's not letting him hold the puppy.
I really did think, I'm not kidding you, for the longest time this was one and done. It's Sydney Sweeney. Guys love her. She can get whoever she wants right now. But this whole Florida trip, I'm kind of thinking they're back together. Or they're working things out and they will be back together at some point officially soon.
That's my case.
New puppy. Telling you, new puppy.
Taking a break.
Standing on new puppy. When we come back, the Obamas. We heard a lot of rumors about their relationship.
Wow, this is a story about everybody together.
Yeah, well, we got some new video of them out at one of their favorite spots. And so certainly, will this finally kill all the rumors? Well, you'll see the video when we come back. Michelle Obama came out on her podcast and said, the only reason I haven't been out with my husband is because I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing things that I want to do, and the things I don't want to do, I'm not going to do.
Not exactly. She didn't say the reason I'm not always with my husband. She just said that last part. She didn't connect it to not being out.
She was saying it because she heard all the rumors, right?
I think that's the insinuation, yes.
Right. Well, some people bought that. Some people didn't.
People thought there might be trouble in paradise in their marriage because she didn't show up at Jimmy Carter's funeral, didn't show up at the inauguration, which we expected.
Right.
But she's saying, look, I had all these obligations and I want to be my own person.
And yet people are like, that seems like it might be an excuse. Well, maybe what they needed was a picture.
And an Italian dinner.
There you go.
A delicious one.
Because the former first couple were out together at Osteria Mozza in Georgetown.
Where they have a house.
D.C., they're there together.
By the way, we're told they got...
I mean, they're not holding hands.
Big applause as they walked in.
Nobody has a puppy, though, so I think we can say that they are...
Boy, talk about turning heads. You know?
Can you imagine, by the way, there was applause as they walked through the restaurant and as people realized it was them. So
that's a big deal.
Does this?
Yes, it should.
Finally squash it?
It should.
I mean, this is clearly a statement, too. This is a fairly high-profile restaurant in Georgetown.
Very high-profile.
Very high-profile place. It's packed with people. They were said to have gotten that applause, like you said. I will say, the comments she made on the podcast had a lot of me in them, right? Both of their kids have graduated college. They're out of the house. And usually a relationship then gets started again. You talk about us. We're going to travel. My husband and I. That's not the way she's talking. So although this puts to rest some of the rumors, I still think it sounds like she just wants an era of Michelle, and I'm not sure Barack is all that involved.
But dude, that does not mean they're breaking up. That just means that you can have a relationship where there's independence, not even separate lives, but there's independence. That
Absolutely.
She had so many obligations that connected to his political career that which she never liked. And she wants some independence. You can still be together.
Everybody wants independence up until the time you can have delicious Italian food together.
And then you come together.
Then you get on the same page.
Yeah, and it's,
I think you're right, and that dovetails with what he has said. He said, I have a huge deficit to her because we spent 8 years following sort of my career in the White House, and now it's her.
And not just 8. He was in the Senate for 2 years. He was then in the House of Representatives in Illinois. Yep. And so he when he was in the House in Illinois, he had to travel to Springfield. She was alone raising the kids. So she's been through it. I mean,
but let me ask you a question. Didn't she? Why stick it to Jimmy Carter as the first sort of gesture of my independence? I'm not going to go to Jimmy Carter's funeral.
That's the one that bothered everyone because Jimmy Carter was just.
What if she just didn't want to sit next to Donald Trump? What if she just didn't want to sit next to him?
Yeah.
I mean, what if it was just as simple as that? She has a big grudge over what Trump did with the birthright citizenship with Barack Obama. And she has never forgotten that, will not forgive it, and she doesn't want to sit next to him.
I'll tell you what's odd, and this doesn't point to their marriage, but I believe her when she says that, and I agree with you that she just didn't want to sit next to Donald Trump, which is why it was so odd the day of the funeral that Barack was sitting there buddy-buddy with Donald Trump and laughing, and because he knows how Michelle feels about him, and yet...
Yeah, but he's also playing the political game, too, because Barack Obama is not happy with Donald Trump.
Right.
So whatever you see there, you know...
He was just making nice because we're at a funeral.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
This is Jay from Vegas. How y'all doing? Listen, Barack Obama has never been a stupid man. If he let Michelle go, he won't know what to do with himself. We'll see him have a Fred Sanford moment. Oh, Elizabeth, especially when one of these young guys come and get her and take her off his hand.
That is funny. That is funny. Okay, we got to move on.
Yes, moving on to Justin Bieber and yet another person who was cast out of Bieber's world. His former good friend, Ryan Good, who was not just a friend, but was a business partner, best man at his wedding. And now they are on the outs and have been for about a year now. And a lot of this has to do not just with business, but really about Justin's aligning himself with this new pastor in his life. And clearly, Ryan Good did not agree with that move that Justin was making.
And we're told that Ryan was a part of Church Home, which is the church that Justin goes to. Judah Smith is the pastor. And at some point, Ryan decided to leave the church, and he was no longer cool with Judah Smith anymore. Obviously, Judah and Justin are extremely close. So this also soured his relationship with Justin. And also for Justin's clothing line, Drew House, which he has since revealed he is no longer working with. But during the time that he was working on Drew House, Ryan felt it was a little strange that Justin brought Judah Smith, a pastor, on the board of a clothing line. And so Ryan no longer wanted to be affiliated with Judah anymore. There was tension there. And ever since then, really, Justin and him have had no relationship. And if you guys remember, earlier this year, Justin even unfollowed a bunch of people, including Scooter Braun, his former manager, and Ryan Good, who, like you guys said, was the best man in his wedding to Hailey Bieber. So he's just
everybody says he's a good guy. I mean, that's kind of what we get from everybody. We made a lot of phone calls on this, that he's a good guy. And Ryan is a good guy. And that Justin really does seem to be, you know, in that world of Judah Smith and the church.
Closing ranks.
And people are saying he has isolated himself from most of the people who were part of his world.
Right,
part of
and
his
if
world.
you're one of those people, it's hard, I would think, to not notice the coincidence, or maybe it's more than coincidence, that they are being cast out as Justin's getting closer to Judah.
That's right.
So
more on this, promise.
Hi, it's Tasha from Brooklyn, and I agree. I think it's very weird to bring a religious figurehead onto the board of a business. Like, what are we doing here? Are we forever 21, Bible verses at the bottom of the bag? And like a bigger question actually is, if there is someone in a position like a pastor close to Justin, why does he look so unwell? We have seen footage coming out of Coachella. This man does not look right, and it's concerning, and these things are not adding up.
Yeah, you're not alone. There are a lot of people who were in his world who are really concerned right now. Okay, we are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Guess what? Jay-Z, get in line. He was not necessarily a lock to get Beyonce's hand in marriage. What her mom is now saying about their early days and the other man who is in the picture.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall. Yeah, right.
It's TMZ.
Beyonce and Jay-Z have definitely been through it over the years and been very public about their marital issues, but they're going strong now. Well, now enter Tina Knowles.
The mother-in-law.
Because mom's got a book that's out that she's got to sell. One of the stories in Matriarch harkens back to the early days.
I remember when they got married. Remember we did the story where they were outside? Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah, remember all of that. It was beautiful. But before they got to the altar, Jay-Z had some competition, turns out, and Tina is now spilling a little tea about it.
I'm interested.
Yeah, it seems like Beyonce and Jay-Z been a brand name for so long, but it seems like they had some competition back in the day. You know, Tina said that Beyonce approached her and, you know, she was kind of like at an impasse. Like she had Jay-Z on one hand and this mystery guy on the other hand.
Who's the guy?
He's happened to be in the industry. You know, Beyonce has never publicly given her dating history, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Who's the guy?
Who's the guy?
Come on, Trent.
If I have to give my TMZ hip-hop expertise, I think it might be Mos Def.
You think it might have been Mos Def?
Yeah, they did a movie.
We should say, to be fair to Tina, she is not saying who it is.
Why?
We're just trying to figure it out.
But at the same time, you know, Beyonce approached her mother with, you know, asking for advice. You know, who should she choose? And Tina just, you know, said, think about it. You know, who do you like more? And turns out, you know, almost
Jay-Z
20 years
won.
Wait.
Was she ever with Mos Def? Was she ever like publicly with him?
Beyonce has only been publicly with Jay-Z. You know, there's been rumors and, you know, linkings, but, you know, Mos Def and Beyonce did do a movie together, but it hasn't been confirmed.
Think about it. Before Jay-Z, you didn't really see photos of her out with dates with anyone. She was very private about it. And I will say the way Tina describes it in the book is when Beyonce came to her is because both guys showed up in town at the same time and probably wanted to take her out. And Beyonce's like, what do I do? They're both here. And then she went to Mom, but Mom said, just choose for yourself.
And then Mom didn't spill the beans in the book.
Come on, Tina.
Hi, this is Nene from Atlanta, and I'm not surprised that there was somebody else lurking around Beyonce. I mean, back then, Beyonce was the hottest thing, and everybody wanted to be with her. But the fact that she is very private, and she went to her mom instead of, like, just being out with anybody and everybody makes perfect sense. But I am kind of curious about who the other guy is. Her and Mos Def did, like, the MTV movie, the hip-hopper thing together.
Right.
They were seeing that, but other than that, Beyonce hasn't been linked to anybody except for like her prom date. So I'm kind of curious too.
Yeah, exactly. I really want to know.
God, it does sound like it might be Mos
Def. Here, we're going to move on to another mystery. A mystery on the set of Inside the NBA.
By the way, this is not a mystery.
Well, it depends on if you believe. But last night, the guys, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, Shaq, and Ernie were all doing their thing. And suddenly Shaq just got up in the middle of the conversation. They were talking about the game.
Here's the thing, though. He kind of waddled off. He didn't just walk.
Hence the mystery. Watch.
The other thing about Kawhi is, you know, you all right, big fella?
I know what's going on.
Go ahead, keep talking, Jeff. Yeah, we're on TV. I know what we're doing. Go ahead.
We're on TV.
That's the olive oil you've been drinking. I know. Hey, take some matches with you. He was in the back talking about he's going to drink alcohol to clear up his
No, he's been drinking the olive oil.
You know what? Olive oil to clean his gut. It's cleaning his gut.
I did not like his gait. Drinking that water, huh?
Chuck, stop talking so damn much. What do you mean? Finish your point so we can go to break.
We waiting on you, fool!
I'm sitting here like, shut the hell up and hurry up. Sorry about that, America.
God.
Number one.
That is
He says it was number one. He says it was number one.
It was not number one.
I love that. Well,
that was hysterical.
I love the fact that he walked away and they were like, we're not going off the air until he comes back.
Oh my God,
They put the pressure on him. They just kept talking.
That was so funny.
They did a replay to show him walking off.
That is funny.
I've said it again. I've said it before. I will always say it is my favorite show on television.
God, that was funny.
And it was almost going away. Thank God it's not.
Okay, we're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, all the talk about Kilmar Garcia, the man in Maryland who was deported, but Democrats have been shouting from the rooftop, he needs due process. Are they fighting for the wrong guy? We're going to get into that with a good buddy, D.L. Hughley, when we come back. Welcome back to TMZ Live. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. This is the Maryland man that you've heard so much about for several weeks now, who was deported, is now in that prison that notorious prison in El Salvador.
Now, 5 senators have actually flown there demanding his release to no avail.
Democratic senators.
Democratic senators.
Important to note. Yes, demanding his release, and the Trump administration has said, no, we were right all along, even though
initially they said that they mistakenly deported him.
They said it was a mistake and he should not have been deported, but they couldn't do anything about it. Now, the tune has changed to, we were right all along. This was not a mistake.
And besides, there's nothing we can do.
Right. Well, first it was nothing we can do about it. Then it was all the things that he's been accused of. He's an MS-13 member.
Allegedly beat his wife.
Yeah. And so Republicans have been positing this as, look at the Democrats. Why are they fighting for this guy who is obviously a bad person? Why are they fighting for him so much? Why are they not focusing on other things? Do they have a point? The Republicans, that is. Joining us now to talk about this is our good buddy DL Hughley. DL, welcome back, man.
Hey,
How
man.
you feeling? Looking good today, man.
Excellent.
I mean, you look good all the time, but.
Thank you, man. I think that they do a great job obfuscating. This is not about one man. This is about can people be spirited away, and the expansion of it of his presidential power. He's talked openly about not only him but homegrown people to be spirited away. So this is just not about a guy. This is about the rule of law. And I think that everything they said about this young man who's with no due process, no accusations, like in America, a hat, a baseball hat can get you deported, a hoodie can get you killed, and white nationalist tattoos can get you to be this defense secretary.
So look, I hear you, and I feel very strongly about due process. And I agree with you on the fact that there has to be due process. That said,
and that's what Democrats are fighting.
This is not just a legal and constitutional thing. It's a political thing. And the Democrats screwed up this last election because they were raising issues that weren't connecting. There are a lot of people out there. Hold on, let me just make my point. There are a lot of people out there, right or wrong, that are saying, we don't connect to this particular guy who has become the symbol for the Democrats. And if you want to win the hearts and minds of people, Donald Trump, you could raise economy, you could raise cutting funds for children with diabetes, and on and on and on. Are they riding the wrong horse here?
He is saying that he will not do a thing. And who do you think, if he's allowed to do this to people, who do you think will be the next in line? It'll be young black men. Everything they say about this young man and due process, they've said to lynch thousands and thousands of people. They've said to jail thousands and thousands of people. So this, to me, is as urgent a matter. It's so urgent that the Supreme Court had an emergency ruling on Saturday where they ruled 7-2 to stop deportation. So it's not just us that think it's urgent. It's the highest court in the land.
I'm not saying, but I'm not, DL, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Harvey,
I'm just saying.
So you're saying don't fight for due process on this one. Let this one go. Don't say anything. Screw the Constitution.
No, not screw
and then wait until it's what, like a white blonde woman who gets deported.
I'm not saying
then
that.
fight for it because then America will
I'm
get on
not
board.
saying that because I happen to agree with you on what you're saying.
So at some point,
but if you're fighting a political war and Donald Trump won on immigration and the economy,
Donald Trump won. I can't. There are myriad reasons why he won. Primarily, I think that America wasn't going to vote for a woman or a black woman. I start calling Donald Trump.
Come on, the Democrats even admit they screwed up, DL.
Of course, we can all do postmortem, but I can't tell you why they did it. I'm gonna start calling Trump Ike because he only beats girls. But I'll tell you this: I think
at the polls,
I think that we are in a position. It's the height of irony to have a 34-time convicted felony as the symbol of fighting against what he calls crime. You could just level an accusation at somebody and spirit them away to a foreign country. That is the most urgent matter I've ever seen.
But we're not arguing. We're not arguing with you. What I'm saying is, Do you not want to win the political war here?
Right, and you're saying the way to win it is to do it take a stand for some guy.
I'm not even saying
for
some
someone
guy
that America can get behind.
People's 401ks are going down, down, down right now. They're cutting things that are,
So that's his point, DL, is that make a bigger deal about that.
Okay, here's
go
the
after
thing.
Trump using that.
I have no idea what the stock market would do. I don't know. I think that's going to play itself out during the course of the year. I think the tariffs is this nebulous, amorphous thing. People don't necessarily know what it is.
It's not. It's going to cost more to live.
But I'm talking about there are a lot of people who are not invested in the stock market or have no knowledge of it. I will say this, that I think that'll play out through the course of the year. I think that it depends on how close you are to this thing. I don't think a white guy has to worry about being spirited away. I don't think so. You have.
Oh, he's going to. He may well go after journalists, and there's going to be no color barrier there.
The people who are being spirited away look a certain way and have said certain things. And I don't see a lot of blonde-haired, blue-eyed guys being in trouble. So I think that, to me, the fact that this could happen to somebody I know, that I love, and that America can just summarily say that I say this guy's a criminal, so he is. And they took this man, and even if he were a criminal, what crime would he have committed to be sent to a prison? Even if he were a criminal, he should be sentenced for life?
No.
In a foreign country?
I agree with you. We agree. What I'm saying is to make this the centerpiece of what the Democrats are doing right now. I don't think it's going to win them elections.
So stop talking.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing. I grew up in America. I'm a black man in America, and we haven't a lot of the fights that we've had to have. We had to lose over and over again. So I don't necessarily know that the odds have to be in my favor. I don't have to be I don't have to have overwhelming odds to know what's right. It is wrong that somebody gets to summarily decide, be a judge, jury, and executioner, and send people away, and that people argue this as if it's not an urgent matter. And it's young black and brown men and young black and brown women who are going to suffer the brunt of this while people are worried about their finances. I'm worried about whether these people can actually see their families again or whether they're going to get killed in some prison. And if that costs me politically, if being human costs them politically, then that's so be it. But ultimately,
so be it is the problem. The so be it is the problem. You can't dismiss that as so be it. You can't.
I think that I'm not a political pundit, but I will say this: the fact that we are deciding whether this is a nation. The president of the United States of America, for one of the rare times in history, has said he will not listen to the highest court in the land. Period. Full stop. It is such an urgent matter that they decided to have an emergency meeting, which is rare. You know how rare unanimous decisions are?
I get it.
So if I don't know, if this man all of a sudden decide that I'm a criminal, that he can send me away and no due process, and he's a petty enough man to do that. It isn't like he won't do what he says he's doing. And there's so many problems. To me, is America America? And the only time America this country has to decide what it is. If we're more concerned about what the stock market looks like as opposed with the trajectory of this nation, we've already lost our soul.
Okay. Well, let's agree on one thing. That necklace is awesome. I love that.
Oh, yeah, cool.
No, I love that.
Yes, of course.
By the way.
Thanks for helping me pay for it, baby.
The necklace is awesome, but I thought the Ike joke was funny.
The Ike joke was really good.
I'm going to borrow that one.
Okay,
all
DL.
right. Thanks, DL.
I'll see you next week.
Man.
All right,
Glad you got it, man. See you later. Bye-bye.
Okay. We're going to take a break.
All right. When we come back, Kanye and Bianca. Seems that they are back on. We got some details of their night out in Spain. And then Kanye says he has not seen his son Saint all year, and he's pissed about it. There's some evidence that shows he's forgetting things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Kanye West's song worked. You say it wasn't the song. I think it was the song that he said, where he said, "Come back to me, Bianca, come back to me."
Oh, yeah.
As we told you, we're back together. I know it wasn't a great song. But they were back together in Spain over the weekend. They went to dinner. And now we have some information about what went down at that dinner. And it's certainly, everything seems to point to a full reconciliation. He also posted that photo. That is Bianca, not Kim.
This is an incendiary relationship. He has seen, we know, at least 3 different divorce lawyers since October. She has seen at least one. So it goes back and forth and back and forth. And it looks like it's back. Yeah. But it may go forth.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
At least for right now, they're definitely back together. So they're at this Indian restaurant. We spoke to the management over there. Essentially, they said Kanye's security came about 10 minutes before. He wanted a VIP private room. They didn't have it. But Kanye and Bianca still showed up. And I think the big takeaway was that they were at the table. They were smiling. They were laughing. It was them two and a third wheel. I don't know who the third person was, but ordered food. Definitely seemed fully back together. And at least for now, that seems like what's going on.
So the marriage, he's got that under control for now. The custody issue with Kim seems to be flaring up again, at least for Kanye, who posted today saying, "I haven't seen Saint this year."
Now that doesn't mean that he's been denied the opportunity to see Saint.
But he's certainly insinuating that. And we have spoken to people connected to Kim who say that is not the case. They've repeatedly told us this, that he is allowed to see the kids whenever he wants. The fact is...
And not only allowed, he just doesn't. And what we're told is he rarely sees his kids.
Now, as for Saint, I don't know why Kanye... I mean, look, I know maybe this is just he's having an episode or something, but we've seen photos of him with Saint this year. They were together in Japan.
They were in Japan together. That's when he was doing the artwork for Bully. So saw Saint, and also we're being told that Kanye was here for 3 months and essentially saw the kids very little. I guess it was only towards the end of the trip that he even reached out and tried to see any of them. And obviously he could have done that at any point throughout the 3 months he was in LA.
Which is one of the reasons Kim has not filed to change custody, because what I'm told is...
It's not necessary.
Well, that it would set him off, and it's not necessary because he's not really seeing the kids much at all. Yeah.
Hey, this is Addison from Galveston County, Texas. I'm going to be honest. This is really baffling. I mean, not that they're getting back together. I didn't know that their divorce was as serious as it was, that they were talking about, they were seeing divorce counselors and whatnot. It's just that seeing the footage and seeing Beyonce wearing clothes is just shocking to me. I mean, she looks great regardless, but that was just definitely different.
You know, I got to say, it's really cool that you can see the solar system from your window. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Quite a view you got there.
Okay, we're going to take a break.
When we come back, Scott Peterson's conviction should be overturned and he should be released from prison. That is what the Innocence Project is saying, and now they have filed documents with the Court of Appeals trying to make that happen. The Innocence Project has been working on the Scott Peterson case for quite some time. In fact, I remember last year we had Mark Garagos, who had been representing Scott Peterson.
In the trial.
Yeah, had him on talking about this. Said he was glad that there was a third party looking into this.
And there was an interesting documentary on it, too.
Yes. Well, now the Innocence Project has completed, I guess, their investigation. They have filed a 400-page petition with the California Court of Appeals saying that Scott Peterson's conviction should be overturned. What they're saying, to sum up the 400 pages if we can in a couple of minutes, they said that this was all circumstantial evidence, and they have hunted down several other leads that they say the police did not.
And one of those leads has to do with, actually, there were 2 burglaries right in the area.
Right.
And the police searched a van and they found a mattress with blood on it. And apparently the police never tested the blood in the mattress inside the van to see if it matched Lacey Peterson's blood. And it was, I got to say, that's a centerpiece of the Peacock documentary, and it was really interesting.
There were 2 other pieces of information I found really fascinating. First, apparently, according to the Innocence Project, the death happened much later than police concluded and was testified to at trial, number one, and also the body of Lacey was found in a different location than police had testified to. So
and that's relevant, Jason, because that's where Scott was supposedly fishing And that's where they placed him there.
That's right. I remember this very, very well. This trial was exceptional. It was the trial of the century for that. You know, they have those all the time. And the mountain of evidence that was lined up against him made it impossible not to convict him. But if some of that evidence is undermined, I think it changes everything.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Chicago. And Scott wants to say 23 years after this murder that he thinks in his head, Lacey Peterson went over and confronted a bunch of robbers next door as they were robbing his neighbor's house when he wasn't home. First of all, that's completely out of her character. And what we know about her character, she's not a dumb woman. She also wasn't confrontational. She was 8 months pregnant. She would have just called 911 if that was the case. They haven't done the testing on this blood yet. So to me, that's irrelevant. I think that he's grabbing for straws at this point. And from the interest in this case, I think in exonerating him comes directly from the fact that he's good looking, which is extremely insulting to the public's intelligence, and it's very disappointing.
Well, we will see. I mean, the Innocence Project generally doesn't pick based on looks, but we will see. What else you guys want to talk about?
Hey, it's Buck out in Nashville. I want to make a comment on the Shannon Sharpe situation, boys, but I always get skeptical when I see recordings of people when they're not sure they're being recorded. She could have been leading up. We're going to get his side of the story. We're going to get her side of the story. But no matter what, this does not look good for Shannon Sharpe at all. And ESPN's standing behind him, but we'll see how long they stand behind him if these allegations are even close.
I mean, they are very ugly allegations, but they are allegations, which he is denying.
And we don't know how this is going to shake out.
Yeah.
One more.
Nikki from Chicago here talking about Sydney Sweeney and her possible on-again, off-again fiance. Now, look, Sydney Sweeney is my celebrity crush, #1, always has been. So I have a little bias here. But if she is single, whoever ends up with her is going to be a seriously lucky guy. That said, at the end of the day, I think that there's a lot more going on than what we can see. And the more we speculate, the further we're probably getting from the truth.
Hold on a second. What did you say? Hold on a second. What say you about the puppy?
It could either be a companion because she is a little bit more alone now, or it could be something that brings them together.
Do you think they're together? Do you think they're together again?
As a child of divorce, I plead the fifth. I don't know.
Okay, we're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, no doubts here. Joe Exotic is with someone. In fact, he got married. Yes, the Tiger King behind bars continues to find love.
He does.
You will see the wedding photos when we come back.
Scores more than the Yankees.
This is going to be really depressing news for any of you who are sitting there swiping, trying to find love.
Joe Exotic found another one.
Joe Exotic. You might want to take the Joe Exotic plan. Well, maybe the federal prison part is probably not great, but he has found love. Once again, he is now married.
Tied the knot.
To Jorge Flores Maldonado, who is 30-something years, 29 years younger than Joe.
Yep. And the thing is, they're both in prison. Jorge gets out next year. How did they get tuxedos?
That's what is that? That's
I don't
that's
know.
Like that's photoshopped, right?
Oh, it's Photoshop.
Yeah. What background? Where in prison would you find that background?
Well, I figured it was a green screen, but they could still be wearing a tuxedo. I don't know.
I mean, you're right. They could be wearing the tuxedo, and it's just a backdrop.
Right.
That, possibly. I don't know. Congrats.
Congrats.
But honestly,
he gets out in a year.
This is what, his third or fourth relationship? He's been engaged.
Dylan. I mean, this guy, he just pulls.
And meanwhile, keep swiping. And maybe you too will find love.
We'll see you tomorrow.